So hi everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well and staying cool. It is Monday today. It is like the day before what is meant to be the hottest day ever, and I think it's going to be about 38, 39 today. Obviously I'm in my bedroom. I have shut all the windows so there's no outside noise, and I can talk freely without being conscious of people outside listening or whatever. So it's pretty warm, but not too bad at the moment. So this is a bit of a different video. The idea came about because about a week or so ago on my Instagram, I posted a reel of my swimsuits, costumes that I had bought so far for Ibiza, and I showed myself in them, and, you know, basically saying to everyone, you know, which one's your favourite. So, and one of them was a blue bikini. You can go and see the reel on my Instagram, it's on there now. And obviously when I was wearing the blue bikini, it showed my scar. There were some questions, I got messages, you know, about the scar, where is the scar from, blah blah blah. The response to my reel was absolutely amazing. I was so pleased that people could take inspiration from that and feel more confident to show their scars or whatever. And that was really, really great. And I also found once I'd done the reel, it sort of freed me up to maybe talk about my scar. Which I have never done, and to be perfectly honest, up until I made the reel, I hadn't shown my scar. But when I was shopping for costumes for Ibiza, I just thought, no, I actually want to wear a bikini. I actually do, and I don't want to worry about my scar. I am so proud of my scar. My scar is why I am here. So it's come from that, really. So someone did message me and say, you know, could you make a video on your scar, how the scar came about? And first of all, I was like, oh, no. But then actually I've thought about it, and it's like, actually, yes, because I think enough time has passed now for me to look back on the whole experiences in a more detached way, and I think I can talk about it more freely now. So I thought I would do a video on my scar story. It's not a simple story. It's quite lengthy. You might want to grab a cup of tea. I have a cup of tea. You know, you might want to switch off. You might not want to watch this. This might not be your cup of tea. It might be a bit graphic or whatever. But, it's a big but, it is part of me. It is part of why I'm here. It is part of why Atticus is here. You know, so it's a huge part of me. So I feel ready to share my scar story. So I hope you enjoy. I hope if anything, if you do have any surgical scars, if you are conscious of them scars, I hope it helps. For me, it has been a time thing. I think probably 10 years ago, I wouldn't probably have shown my scar. So I can appreciate that it is definitely a time thing. But yeah, I hope this video helps in some way, or, you know, maybe helps you to know a little bit more about me, the person. So, okay, we'll start from the beginning. I think probably if you haven't seen my reel on my Instagram, then I will show you the scar that I am talking about. So it's a really hot day today, so I have got my shorts on. So obviously all this is where the elastic's been on the shorts, but we're talking about this scar that goes from my belly button all the way down. And a lot of people thought it was a cesarean scar. And no, I've never had a cesarean. I've never had a C-section. I had all my children vaginally. So no, it's not. So if I go back to the very beginning, then that will work. Beginning's an always good place to start, isn't it? Right, so if we go back to roughly, because this is how distant it is in my mind, that I can't exactly remember the exact year. So if we go back to roughly, I'm going to say 2006/2007. But I could be wrong on that. It could be 2005. So it's one of them 3 years. Okay, because when I look back, a lot went on and it is all a haze. So around about that time. At the time, I was married. And obviously, Anastasia, she was 5/6 age. So one morning, I woke up and I woke up in extreme pain on one of my sides. And I can remember saying to my husband at the time, it feels like I've got a stone in the side of me. It was agony. So he got me to the GP surgery, where I can remember sitting in the waiting room. I was basically almost laying down in the waiting room. I was in that much agony. We went in to see the doctor. I'm laying down on one of the beds and he's trying to examine me, like obviously pressing down here and what he can feel and everything. And it was just agony. Every time it was just complete and utter agony. So obviously he sent me straight over to A&E. So we get to A&E, and when I say this bit is a blur, it really is a blur because it all happened so quickly. I had some x-rays. I guess I must have had some x-rays for it to get to the point it did, but I can't remember the x-rays. Obviously, probably various tests and everything. And then literally the next thing I know, I'm being wheeled down to theatre, and I can remember someone saying to me, we're just going to go straight in. We're not going to muck about. I remember that. And I was like, okay. I really didn't get what was happening. It was my first experience of, I'd had small things wrong here. You know, I'd had things like polycystic ovaries and, you know, things, but never surgical, never really hospital wise. It was my first experience. I honestly, I was like, okay, you're going straight in. I can remember being in the anaesthetic room. I remember that. I can still picture that. Okay, and then obviously you count down from 10, don't you? You're gone. You know nothing about it. So then when I came round, it turns out that they had removed a tumour that had grown on my ovary. That is what the pain was. I don't know if the tumour had started to twist, whether it had got so big it was causing pain, whatever. That's what it turned out to be. So they cut me. So the one I've shown you is where they first cut. Just to let you, there's 3 different operations here within a short period of time. First one, that's where they cut. They done that big cut to remove the tumour. So the recovery after any abdominal surgery is huge. It really, really is. It took weeks, as did the other 2, which I will tell you about. It took weeks to recover. So obviously during that time, thank God, I was married. Steve looked after Anastasia. He took Anastasia to school, picked her up from school. You know, he was just amazing, and I still am thankful to this day for that. So the recovery starts. I start to gradually recover with lots of rest, lots of painkillers, lots of morphine. And then I get the results that the tumour, what they removed, was borderline. It was an ovarian borderline tumour, which is not full-blown cancer, but it wasn't normal either, borderline. So their decision was to next remove the ovary that that tumour had grown on. So once I basically recovered from the first operation, I was ready to go into hospital, have the ovary removed, and I was actually told that I could have keyhole surgery. So I'm going into hospital, you know, not too worried, you know, it's going to come out keyhole, I'll be out in a couple of days, even that day, next day, whatever. And then after the surgical team had examined me and everything else and saw my how they'd cut me last time, it then happens that I actually can't have keyhole surgery ever because of how I'd been cut before. So they actually went in the same opening. I remember when they first told me that they had to do that, I cried and I cried and I cried because I remembered the pain. I remembered how long it took to heal. I remembered just horrible, and I really didn't want it, but at that point I had no choice. You know, it was best the ovary, you know, came out. Do you know what I've missed? I've missed a big chunk of this ovary business. I really have. Okay, rewind slightly. It's hot. Rewind slightly. Before the decision to take the ovary away was made, I had a consultant's appointment with, his name was Mr. Wood, and his advice to me was basically to have the whole lot took away. So he meant my womb, both of my ovaries, all my reproductive organs. And at this time, I was a lot younger. So I remember me and Steve were in his office, and he said, look, just go and have a coffee in the cafe, go and have a cup of tea in the cafe, discuss it together, and come back to me in an hour with your decision, what you want to do. And my decision was just to have the ovary took away, to keep my reproductive organs. And I always think back and I think, if I hadn't have made that decision, my Atticus wouldn't be here. But something told me at the time just to have the ovary took away. So anyway, back to having the ovary took away. That's how that came about. Yeah, they were going in through the same cut. So instead of just going in quick, keyhole surgery and out, it was again back to square one with the whole healing process again, weeks and weeks. Yeah, it wasn't great, but the ovary came out, which the tumour had grown on. So to me, that was done. So, you know, life got back to normal again for quite a while. That was done. I had checkups for 5 years. I would have the CA125 blood test, which obviously it measures the basically cancer markers in your body. I would have regular scans, and everything was absolutely always okay. I'm going to have a sip of my tea. Then, a big then. Now I do remember the year of this one. This was in 2009. Towards the end of 2009. I remember we had gone, me, Anastasia's friend, and my mum had gone on a coach trip to Bath for the day. And I remember that day I just couldn't stop eating. Just wanted to eat so much, and I did. Listen to my body, I ate so much. Anyway, on the coach on the way home, my stomach just had tummy ache, basically. Felt a bit sick, but mostly tummy ache. Had it all through that night when I got home, and just presumed it was, I'd got a tummy bug, which you would. Then I started to be sick. And then the pain was increasing, and then when I was being sick, in the end, it was literally just, I was just reaching, there was liquid, there was no food coming up, it was just, and the pain was absolutely terrible. Anyway, so I'm starting to think this is strange. Then it was getting so bad, I remember I sort of got myself, and at this point I had actually sent Steve to work, it was fine for Steve to have gone work because we just both presumed it was a stomach bug and I'd be fine. And Anastasia was there, bless her, and I was in so much pain, and I remember getting in like the labour position, like I was like on my knees, and then all of a sudden, thank God, the doorbell went. And it was my mum. And she came round and she said, I don't know why, she said, something just told me to come round. It was like, yeah, thank God you have come round, basically. And I think she took one look at me, the pain I was in, blah, blah, blah. She phoned an ambulance. Ambulance come out. I think they gave me some morphine for the pain, blah, blah, blah. Rushed into hospital. As I'm in hospital, they're doing x-rays, blah, blah, blah. My stomach is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're actually drawing lines with like a marker on my stomach, different lines. It was just literally bigger. I had no idea what was going on, and then I'm in a hospital bed. I've been admitted at this point, and some doctors come round and basically tell me that my bowel is blocked. My bowel is blocked now. And they say, right, what we'll try and do first is try and unblock it with a tube. So they tried with the tube thing, that didn't work. And they were like, you know, we're going to have to operate. We're going to have to cut your bowel. We're going to have to unblock your bowel. And it was like, I remember it was like, no, please, not again. And I knew it was going to be even worse. The recovery was going to be even worse. And I was just like, please, no. And I can still remember, and I think I'll always remember, one of the doctors, at this point there was about 4 or 5 doctors around my bed, and I can remember one of them said, look, you either want us to save your life or you don't. And I still didn't get it at the time, but now I know, obviously, it was a race against time, because my bowel could have burst at any second, and then I would have died. So it was like, okay, here we go again. And I can remember at the time, it was like, God, you know, it would have been so much easier if I'd had a zip there. You know, a zip where the scar is? They could have just unzipped me, done it, zip back up. But no, obviously not. So I think the operation, it was a long operation. I think I was down there about 5 or 6 hours. And before I went down, it was a lovely nurse, I'll never forget her, who was looking after me on the ward. And she said to me, you know, there might be a slight chance that when you wake up, you're going to have a colostomy bag. Because obviously the bowel, you know, they didn't know how they were going to be able to unblock it, fix it, how much they'd have to cut away or whatever. So I went down to theatre thinking I might wake up with a colostomy bag, but at the time that was the last of my worries, really, because it was just about saving my life then. And I remember when I first came round on the ward, and she actually said to me, the first thing she said to me, she looked at me and said, you haven't got a colostomy bag. And that was a relief. Obviously I was high on morphine for such a long time. I had a morphine pump. I didn't eat for 10 days in total. I was so hungry, but I wasn't allowed to eat. I remember being sick, constantly bringing up green liquid. I had tubes down my nose, down the back of my throat. It was a time. It was, hand on heart, it was, out of all 3 operations, it was it was the worst. It really, really was. I could, you know, I think there were times that I did think, you know, my time was up. I can remember one day, me, my mum and Steve, we went to the chapel at the hospital, said some prayers. You know, I was in my wheelchair, couldn't walk, and and you know, I believe, you know, it wasn't my time, you know, and I survived that. And you know, thanks to the absolutely amazing NHS and the amazing surgical team that operated on me, because without them I simply wouldn't be here. Anyway, it transpired that what blocked my bowel was because I'd had the previous 2 operations. The scar tissue inside from them 2 previous operations had grown over my bowel, so therefore blocked my bowel. So yeah, to say I was in hospital, I must have been in hospital at least 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I can remember walking back into my home after I'd been in hospital, and I can remember screaming. I just wanted to go back to hospital. It was just, everything felt so different. It was just, you know, it was one hell of a journey, one hell of a recovery. It took a long time to recover, a long time. I know they let me go out of hospital. They said, once you basically fart, we'll let you go home, because then we know your bowels are working. So we waited for that fart, and then I could go home. But it was like, when I got home, I fancied a curry, and I can remember Steve making me a curry, and I could literally eat a couple of spoonfuls. You know, my bowel had to learn to eat again, you know, to my whole body. It was just, yeah, it was a time. And it was so close to Christmas, and I so wanted to choose Anastasia's presents, because back then we didn't like have all this on the internet and stuff, you know. We're going 2009, I mean, you know. And I can remember Steve, he got me a wheelchair, so he took me to Milton Keynes and wheeled me around Milton Keynes so I could choose her presents. And yeah, that is I don't know how long this video is, I don't know how long I've rambled for, but that is the story of this scar. And I think probably in my own way, maybe doing that reel and showing my scar and not caring about my scar is probably my way of actually, all these years on, in a way processing it and accepting it. I think sometimes things can happen in life, and you know, we carry on and we carry on and we carry on, and do we fully process things? I don't know. And I think it's my way of actually saying now, you know, this scar is why I'm here. This scar is why my son is here. This scar is my life. And you know, it is. And I thought I would share that with you, why the scar is there, what it is. And you know, so yeah, I thought, yeah, share my story with you, share my scar story, and I hope it can help. I hope it can give you confidence if you are, you know, if you have surgery in the future, you know, planned in the future, or you know, you're worried about surgery, or you're worried how you're going to be afterwards, and blah blah blah. You know, it's a journey. It really is a journey, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, you know, it's not incredibly difficult, because it is incredibly difficult. But there is life after all that, and you know, I think it's just about keeping the faith, really, and because what else can we do? So yeah, that is my scar story. And I am going to go to Ibiza which is now 2 weeks. I'm going to buy some more bikinis, and I am going to wear my bikinis, and I'm not going to care about my scar. And I think it's been a therapeutic process. So yeah, there you go. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope it wasn't too graphic. And yeah, I will be back with another video soon. Bye.